I was just thinking, isn't everything that I do right now leading me away from right now? So caring about what I think, thinking about my thoughts, or caring about my feelings, isn't that all leading me away from this very moment? I do this because I think it is helping me in some way, understanding what I don't know, but is true, understanding that. And it may be, or it may not be, but I found it interesting, an interesting thought that even doing this, while thinking it is good for me, that it is actually not really experiencing this right here, right now. Instead, I care about what's going on here. It's different though. Instead of being led by it, I question it. But isn't life just way more simple than I make it to be? Do I believe that there is this bigger thing or this more complex thing that I do not understand yet? It just rained really hard out of nowhere. It just started raining. Now the sun comes out, as you can see. And maybe that's describing my point. That there's not really a point why that happens, I guess. It just happens. Trying to understand why it just started raining and why it just stopped now. And even why there isn't a rainbow. Because that's supposed to happen. Is maybe the whole point. Yesterday I was sleeping. Or about to sleep. And I never had this feeling before. Where I just, for the first time in my life, thought, isn't life extremely perfect? Even more perfect than perfection. Like I was thinking about the moon and me lying here. And just everything in between. And just everything in my body functioning as it, keeping it alive. And that it is incredibly complex if you think about it. But maybe not at the same time. And that it just all happens perfectly. It was really crazy to me. And I was actually telling this to one of my employees. But I also mentioned to her that you can't really make someone else feel something. Well, that's not true. I think you can. But in this case, it is a rather... I'm not sure if that is true. If it is a complex feeling. I think there might be people... Like if you say something to 1 billion people, then maybe some will feel the same. Likely most will not. And that's fine. I guess an interesting question to ask is like, did this help me so far? I know this might be like one of the first 5 things I upload, but I've been doing this for a long time now already. Just with my phone. And also with my phone, but not actually recording it, but just holding my phone there because I care too much about other people's opinions still. And they might find me weird if I don't have any AirPods in and I just talk out loud without anything. So that's why I usually keep my phone. And I've been doing that for a long time. And the question that arises in me right now is that, did it get me somewhere? Arguably somewhere better? Did it help me? I think the only way to judge that is just, I would say, with the negative experiences and the positive, but the positive seem to be harder to notice. So the negative one seems to be easier because I'm usually aware of those more than I'm of the positive experiences. And I think the only way to judge if this has helped me is that, did the same experiences happen and did I feel indifferent after that? Because if I didn't feel good or bad, just nothing from the same experience that before caused a lot of pain, then I guess I have learned, understood, whatever you want to call it. And I was also thinking, I leave the question open because it's a more personal one, but I was also thinking, could the feeling actually also not be a product of the mind, but just a natural thing that happens? And I guess the question arises because if feeling is always a product of the mind, then whenever I feel it, I know it's the mind. And I think when I know that it is the mind that caused that is active, basically, then I've basically disarmed it. Then it can no longer hit me with its weapons. But I'm not sure if that's true, if it's always a feeling, if a feeling is always a product of the mind. And I say this because my grandmother is dying at the moment, and it caused a feeling inside of me, an emotional feeling. And it felt natural, but that doesn't mean it was. So then, how to know if it's natural? I don't have an answer for that. This thought is there for multiple times now already. Like, doesn't life just become boring after you really understand that it is very simple? That only right now here matters? If that is true, then doesn't it just become boring? Or the opposite of boring? And does that even matter in the first place? What if it is boring? Whatever you think boring means, then that is that. Isn't just all trying to search for perfection while perfection is already perfect? Isn't that true? And that even death makes life perfect. And right now, instead of not feeling at all, I might feel good, which to me seems good, but it's just a matter of time before I then feel bad again, because I'm feeling in the first place, and that I've only really understood when I no longer feel at all, and the things around me just happen, just like the trees and the plants here. They just move with everything, but they don't try to. It's crazy when you think about it, that everything that isn't really in nature was then invented by us, and still so perfect. Even this thing, or maybe everything we've created that wasn't already there is actually not. It's all just a big mystery how this ever was created and who created it. It's crazy. And it's crazy to think about how smart we are, how intelligent we are, whatever that means. But isn't that at the same time which make things more complex than they actually are? That we are given a mind, whereas it seems like everything and everyone else outside of the human being is not giving this mind. And that we had the choice to use it and not to use it, but it seems like everyone is being used by it all the time, whether they want or not. But that the truth is that we are given one, that we can use it. We just haven't learned how to get to that state, to only use it when needed. And I guess that is what I'm trying to figure out. How can I get to that place where I can only use it when I need it, when I want to? For as then everything is perfect. And maybe it already is. Talk soon.